Welcome back, folks. This is Darren 6772. I'm Darren. Hi. Working on a 1968 C10 in the bright white. I got a lot to cover today. I like it when I have more things to cover with you guys, but I have to move quickly. I haven't talked about this in a while. Loctite, the little bottles of Loctite. I don't know if a lot of you newcomers know about this, but I try to put it in every video that I do. I've missed a few, I'll be honest. But look for that. It's just entertaining. Some people are into the Where's Waldo, some aren't. In the description of the video, I'll put the timestamp of where it's at, just in case you have a hard time finding it. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard. Okay, so fender alignment, some headlights. We'll talk about the grill, the cross between old and new patina. We're going to cover all that if I can. So we got the fender on, and I've kind of been manipulating on it, fiddle with it. I know the normal videos people put out, just put the fender on there, a little adjustment. Hey, we're good to go. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Never happened to me. So what we got here is the fender's pretty much in place. We're pretty good on the door here. The seam, the body line is all lined up. The door gap, somewhere in this video, I'll take you over here and show you that's really good. The door sticks out just a skosh at the bottom. I don't like, but that's the door. If you remember, this door was, well, it was caved in when I got it. I didn't put it on 25 times and get it just perfect. But the rocker I did way over there 4 months ago lines up really good with the fender. It's just the door peeking out a touch. I did put one washer on the bottom of the fender to kind of average the two out. It's not really noticeable. But at the top, again, I'll get you in a second. We got a ledge here, and you think, well, just shim it right there where that bolt's at. That's what that's for. This fender is inner and outer all one piece. So just to pull on this corner, I mean, I could get a pry bar in there, but you aren't going to pull that to make barely any difference at all. So what do? The front end, remember I talk about when you move one thing, you move everything it's hooked to. So it's kind of a cascade or a domino effect. But we'll deal with some of that later. Yeah, I said later, or maybe not at all if it doesn't need it. So what I'm going to do, let's see what you guys are seeing. Well, let me show you that door gap real quick. It's actually better than my Spanish Gold truck. It's a pretty good gap. I mean, we haven't fine-tuned it, but this way, I'm really happy with it. Might be a little tight for the door. We'll worry about that another time too. One step at a time. So I'll bring her onto the front, kind of show you what I'm doing here. All right, you can probably see that door gap pretty good now. Fender to door. See, we got quite a uneven fit here. And it's fit down here. So your first thought would be, well, the fender or the door is wrong. We can't fix it. That's not true. I don't know if the door or fender are wrong. I know where it's at is wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my hands right now. I've got this one bolt top, one bolt bottom, one bolt to the core support. And the core support's loose too. I'm just going to push the front fender core support and slide it to the passenger side a little bit. You watch that gap. See if I can get out of your way. I'll use my hip here. All right, here we go. All right, I made a little racket because the inside fender's not attached yet. But that gap almost disappeared immediately. It looks really good now all the way down. Didn't change anything except the top. Well, that door does have a little movement top to bottom. Now, we're not quite there, but at this point, you could say, well, I'll fudge it a little, and you can just pry it out a little bit and get that door gap where you want to the fender. Or alignment, I should call it. That's not a heavy, hard pry. We could loosen this one and add one more washer, but let's not go too far. We have to mount a hood on here. If you start pushing things out this way and too much in the front, your hood won't line up. So there's a lot of things you have to come with alignment. It isn't just a door or just a fender. It's a lot of things. All right, I got to move along. The next issue I want to talk about is headlights. But as I do, I want to talk about new bolts and old bolts. Here's the headlight I did without you guys. I was just checking the kit to see what all it had in it. Let me cover the bolts first. So this truck was tore apart at one time and completely disassembled for their their restoration or build, whatever they're doing. And they obviously decided they don't want to do it anymore. So what do you do with it? Just a million parts laying everywhere. Well, if you want to sell it and make any kind of money at all, you've got to reassemble it. And that's what they did. But they did what anybody would do. Why put every last bolt where it belongs when it's going to come apart and come with the next guy? So they just put one bolt in the core support, one in the fender here, one up there, and threw the rest of the bolts that, well, being honest, the rest of the bolts that they were handy and they found were missing a ton of hardware. That's fine. They sell new hardware. But if you're picky like me, now you got to determine where I want old hardware and new hardware. So when that comes up through the video, just know I'm picky. I'm weird. It doesn't even matter. 99% of the people in the world don't care. The ones that do care probably don't like it the way I did it anyway. But do it your way. It's your project. That's the great thing about America. We all can just live our own lives and don't worry about what your neighbor's up to all the time. If he ain't bothering you, leave him alone. So I bought new hardware kit for the headlights because these plastic pieces were all broke and missing or had 3 prongs, not 4. And I thought, yeah, it's a couple bucks for a new one. Probably more than that. I think a headlight adjuster screw kit's about 15 bucks online, Amazon, wherever you find it. The disappointing thing is it'll come with the plastic, it'll come with the adjusters, but the one I bought didn't come with the springs. So I had to deal with that. This one's in. I'll show you how to do the other one. I just took care of my hammer. I don't know why. But you will need a hammer and a kind of a gentle hand. You don't want to beat on these by no means. They are plastic. But they're in the category of nylon, so they'll tolerate quite a bit. So let's just come over to this side. And you can kind of see a little bit right here where we're going to put it. Got my hammer. So when you get the kit, I could show you the number, but I think they're all the same. When you get the kit, you're going to get these 2 plastic pieces. Well, you're going to get 4 plastic pieces and 4 adjusters. Your old spring's probably bad. You'll have to locate one. I'm just using springs out of my drawer. It just needs to be spring loaded so you can move it. Because what happens is the headlight actually sets in this, I'm going to call it a headlight socket. It's designed to touch and just be rotated like a ball in here. So rather than having 3 adjusters, which would be a nightmare and you'd probably break something, the spring keeps it held tight on one side and you just adjust the top up or down or the side for left and right. So the first thing you have to do is get these plugs in. They come in from the inside and they're going to feel like they don't fit. You're only going to get them maybe a third or half the way in, and they'll bind up pretty good. Now, if you've got tougher thumbs than me, you might be able to push them in. But all you got to do, little noise, just support what you're doing, and just tap them in. That's it. Doesn't take a lot. I sometimes use a socket, but it's not that tough. Done. They're in. Let's grab the headlight. We'll go over that real quick. These are the headlights that came with the truck. Tom's going to go LED on them eventually. But again, we're just putting this thing together. Enjoy it. He can fix what he wants another day. Or I'll help him. You know that. So I guess I'll show you this. Here's your adjusters. Okay. And they just slide into these. They're just cutouts. They just slide in there like that. You get it in the notch. Not behind on the threads, but in the notch. So that's what we're after. Doing this. I got a screwdriver. This is how I do it. There's probably other ways. But these plastic pieces, they get stripped out. So take your time, thread them in square. If you think close enough, yeah, you might get away with it, but I don't. End up cross-threading them and stripping them out. They're just steel on nylon. They'll hold quite well in the right position. Excuse me. I don't know. Put them in 6, 8, 10 turns. You're going to go way in. I think the average is between a 1/2 inch and 3/4, but let's not get technical. It's just a headlight. Come on. Now, he marked them left and right, which is funny because this is what everybody would call the right. and that'd be the left. So they're either interchangeable or you mark them wrong. I don't know. This is the way I want to do them. That's the way they fit. Well, I said that. Here we go. So you hook your spring in this. It's got a slot, a cutout. Just want to hook your spring in there. Put your headlight in the bucket. Your notches will line up. Now, you could leave one screw out, but I just I force it a little bit. It's flexible enough. Watch, I'll break it right here on camera. Get them in there. You're pretty much done. Now, the funny thing is, I just noticed that's broke anyway, so I'm sure it's not going to work. But hey, it looks the part, right? Now, you can adjust this and make it look like it's going to go down the road the right way. They'll be adjusted when the truck's done. I do it against the garage door. Mark a line. Mark a line with a good car, it's about the same height. There's many ways to do it. But there, headlights in. Those are not difficult. I strongly suggest getting the new adjusters. I know it's $15, but the screws aren't stripped out, the nylons aren't broke. That's my suggestion. I'll just leave it like that. The next thing is getting the entire front end on, but I want to get the grill on. So what we need to get after is the support brackets. And here's where we get into old bolts and new. I'm going to take you over there. Just take a second. I like to do, excuse me, like I did on a 1971. I like to do like this truck. I don't do them all this way, but where are we at? Right there? Yeah. I like when I put a new shiny part on, go ahead and put new hardware. I like that look. Leave all the original. So we've got this bracket and latch. I kind of like to have original bolts, and I think it just gives it that old look, nostalgia. I'm that kind of guy. Oh, here you'll say, well, he put acorn nuts on there. Well, it's just shiny out here. It just kind of blends the shiny to the black. That's what I wanted to do. Nothing to catch a coat on. I thought it looked cool. Again, do your thing. But I also want to show you painting the inner fender and leaving the outer fender. That's something I do. Once you black out the entire underneath of the hood, if this is painted down to the inner fender, I don't think it looks as good as doing the black and letting the color of the car wrap around here. On more modern day cars, they were screwed in here, and the outer was separate than the inner. These are welded one piece, so I just paint where that would be. I think it looks pretty cool. I don't think most people even give a crap at all. So there's that. I should probably call Tom every 10 minutes and ask him what he thinks, but I'm pretty sure he don't care either. And who does? Well, this guy and 10 others probably. So, given that, I rounded up a couple of old bolts for here just to put this part on. Loose fit, folks. I can't say it enough. Just finger tight things at this point in the game. I have done it the other way where you tighten and loosen, and yeah, you might get a better fit a little quicker. Problem is you're wearing the threads every time you do that. So you do you. All right, so that's the hood latch mechanism. And then you have this, I don't know what you call it, core to grill support. There, I made up a name. It has 2 bolts in it. I put the back bolt in because the front one is part of the grill. So if you put one in now, you'll have to probably could have cleaned that thread better, I guess. If you put the front one in, you're just going to take it right back out. So I guess it's in there. Just a dirtier thread than I thought. One at the bottom. Again, new hardware. Put it where you want. You might say, well, that's really loose. Very important. The grill sandwiches between these two. So you need to leave it loose like that. Grab the grill real quick, which we've got painted and put back together, I don't know, months ago. I know I'm kind of in your way, but I got to balance this. So take my thumbs and just lift up on this mechanism and slide this between this mechanism and the support and it'll just sit there. I should have it. Yeah, here's another bolt. I choose to put it in this bolt notch to kind of hold it. I don't want anything falling. And we got to grilling. Way quicker than I thought. So at this point, we've got a couple things to think about. We got a liner that goes. I never worked on a 68, so I don't really know the assembly procedure on this particular item. Maybe they're on other trucks, but I never had a truck with this, so I don't know. This pan or guard, or whatever you want to call it, goes down in behind this. I think it's under here to keep water from splashing up. So I'm gonna have to get that put in there and figure out upside down or flip back this way. So that comes next. That's all been completely tar coated. And by the way, no gloves, no tar. That filler goes in somewhere near the bottom. And then the size of this, when you line this up with your fender, they actually bolt into the fender. So there's a lot of bolts in the fender. I think I counted them one time, and I don't remember. It's like 27. It's really amazing. But that's kind of what we were after today. I got that done pretty quick. Yes, I know it's not all bolted and tight, but it looks pretty good. See, I'm using my good camera. I can't see you guys. I think it looks great. I'll get her aligned and all that. But last thing I want to cover, because we got this far, was shims. Now you can use washers. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I used washers at the top of the fender here. Well, a normal washer, I'm just paranoid you can't see me. A normal washer is fine, but it is sometimes very difficult to fish that washer down in this spot with your fingers, because your fingers are thicker than the washer. So they make a couple different things. They make it's a shim, but it's a washer with the top cut out. Now those are pretty handy. I think I did use one in there and a regular washer. What I do when you can put a washer on, because the bolt's long, it's your first time in, you can throw a washer on, put it in. Now as you adjust it, you loosen this and just drop it down in there. That works fine, unless you want to pull it out. Now it's already down in there, you can't reach it. So they make shims that have a tab at the top as well. So you can grab a hold of it and pull it back out. Lots of different shims. Each one makes the job easier. From a washer to a split washer to the one with a tab, and finally to these. Now you can't use something this big everywhere, but at the top of the fender, it's one of the easiest things to do. And of course, why didn't I do it? Because it's got this handle and it's slotted. You loosen this up and you can just drop it right in there, and there's plenty of room to move it, to re-grab it, snatch it up out of there. So that's what those are for. These are quite large. I think you can only use them on the top of these fenders, maybe a couple places. My favorites, and I don't have one, and I'll tell you why, because they're my favorite and I use them first, is the slotted type with the handle on the top. They also make them in like a rectangle. Those work really well. I think we've covered everything I wanted to cover today. I'm going to finish up tightening this, getting the dust wiped off it, getting the bolts in the orientation that I think looks best. Yeah, probably a waste of time. I'm not going to adjust headlights, but I want to get that filler panel in there and kind of see how things are going to line up and get that inner fender bolted in. Now that I've got the outer really close, then you bolt the inner fender in. Otherwise, the inner fender will fight you on your adjustment of this outer. I don't know if I want to call it inner. There's an inner fender, outer fender, and a wheel tub. So think about that. One more thing. There's always one more thing. Now I can't remember. Oh, I know what it was. Core support. I'll put you up here for my say goodbye. Core supports. I like LMC. I'm a bit of a fanboy, but it doesn't mean that I'm not like brand loyal. Do like LMC. It's a good company. It's family owned, blah, blah, blah. They've always treated me good, but there's a handful of products I didn't care for. I think the door panel paint was supposed to be a color match. Wasn't even close. So that's no big deal. But the core support I ordered for this, the rubber kit, was a nice kit, but I didn't think about it until I started putting it in. The rubber is like 1/4 inch rubber isolators. I don't know. They do things new and different all the time. It doesn't bother me. But I got to thinking, I'm having this fender alignment issue, and the core support needs to go up. And why am I having to shim it? You shouldn't have to shim your core support. Maybe one shim, but I was way off. So I looked at my other trucks. Again, thank goodness I have them, because face it, my memory's not that good. Is anybody's memory that good? I do a lot of work on these trucks. So I looked at both my other trucks, 3/4 ton, half ton, doesn't matter. They have that 1-inch, nice thick isolator rubber for the core supports, not this little thin one. So I had to round up some more for Tom around here. I've got leftovers from different projects. And I had to put those in or raise my core support so that my fender would align. So just be aware. Maybe I bought the wrong core support kit. I don't know how, but it's just maybe. We're going to say that. I did order something wrong the other day. I don't know if I'm going to keep them or what I'm going to do, but be aware of this. When I was online looking for radiator clamp downs, radiator supports, I don't know what you call them right now. Every little name, every little part. And I had a really hard time finding 2-core or 3-core clamps. And here's what they look like. Okay. Well, I guess I still ordered the wrong ones, even though I had a hard time finding them. Looks like I never did find the right ones. They're completely different. The bolt holes are the same, but you can see how much longer it is. And underneath, the rubber is way longer from one to the other. So that's a 4-core. This would be what they call a 3-core. This is what or maybe 2. I see a lot of 3s. This is what I run into most frequently. This would be your big block. Or if you just wanted to put a 4-core in it. Tom might go to a 4-core on this. If it ever overheats even one time, we've already agreed. I'll buy back that radiator and we'll figure out a way to put another one in. So I'll probably keep these around. I think they were 15 or 20 bucks. Not the end of the world. I'll likely use them. If I didn't think I'd ever use them, yeah, I'd return them or sell them to somebody or something. Unfortunately, I showed you this. I'm going to keep looking, but in all the parts of Tom's truck, there's just one of these. That's a bummer. All right, I think I've covered everything. Thanks for coming this week. Like, subscribe, all that. I got one person that comes every week and gives me a thumbs down. I'm proud of them. They stick with it. They're here every week to give me that thumbs down. They do it the first day I post my video. So whoever you are, I appreciate how passionate you are. But if I made you angry, I'm sorry. I'm just doing my thing, trying to let you do your thing. So there's my speech on that. I could use a couple extra thumbs up to counteract his thumbs down. That's how YouTube works, but that's not your worry. I hope you had fun. Come again next week. There'll be more of my shenanigans. All right, gotta go.